here at 6 because I have a feeling there's going to be a few people here later today. So is there anybody here from the public that wishes to speak on an item regarding closed session? All right, seeing none, we'll adjourn to closed session. We'll be back here at 6 p.m.
Mic test.
Mic test.
Mic test.
Mic test.
Mic test.
Mic test.
Yeah, so you said you were going to call me. All I wanted to tell you is I'm reading the new draft of the ACLU. Okay. It's much more conservative than what you saw.
Alrighty, good evening, everybody. Thanks for being here this evening. We're going to get started. The board did come back from closed session, and we did take action on some employee appointments, but due to this special occasion and with our upcoming little celebration here, we're going to talk about those employee appointments after that, and Dr. Hanson will introduce the employees that we did agree to bring on to the district. So with that, we'll get started with our meeting, and we'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Lynn, why don't you lead us in the pledge?
Looks like we all have our hand over our heart. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Carmen Day. So before we get to the next item, which is the signing and action on the STEM school, I do have a couple cards from members of the public that wish to address this item. I have two cards, so if you have not given a card and you do wish to speak on this item, please get it up front to Cheryl up here. So first, and just remind those speaking on this topic, you do have 3 minutes. So first is Guru Mantra Kasala. Good evening, sir.
Hi, my name is Guru Mantra Khalsa. I'm the chair of the University Neighborhood Association, and my neighbors asked me to come and read these comments to you about this. So the success of the RFSA has not come without considerable negative impacts to the neighbors adjacent to the RSA and the rest of us who endure twice daily traffic jams. The selection of Lot 13 as your preferred site for a new facility will result in unacceptable levels of traffic and a bottleneck for those commuting to campus via Watkins Drive. It would also eliminate parking spaces currently used by faculty, staff, and students, the likely result of which will be putting additional parking pressure on our residential neighborhood streets and increased parking fees for UCR students and staff to pay for an additional parking structure. The Lot 13 site will also most assuredly result in a CEQA lawsuit filed by the neighbors. That would be most unfortunate, time and cost-consuming outcome. The neighbors voted unanimously on that course of action at our July 13th meeting should your selection process result in Lot 13. A new facility at Lot 13 serving up to 1,200 students would be an untenable degradation to the neighborhood health and our quality of life. We urge you to reconsider your preferences and select the Iowa Avenue site. The future upgrades to Iowa Avenue for the CARB facility will add the necessary traffic lanes to accommodate increased traffic density and the RSA's future growth and success. And on a personal note, I want to offer my congratulations to the collaboration for this kind of stuff. The only missing thing was any input whatsoever from the community. The success of the RSA is a source of community pride, and we're finding real estate agents are using it as a draw to get people to move back into the neighborhood, especially families. So you're on the right track, but don't make a mess out of this, and I'd urge you to bring the neighborhood into it before you go crazy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Next speaker I have is Miss Barbara Gable. Ms. Gable, thank you for being here this evening.
My name is Barbara Gable, and I am one of the neighbors that was at the meeting that Guru Mantra just talked about. This was the very first time we had ever heard anything about this plan, and I can judge by the balloons that it's a done deal. I feel like the neighborhood was not consulted at all. The UCR has had dozens of long-range planning meetings where they supposedly invited the neighbors and asked what they thought about certain plans. Then the university usually did exactly what it wanted to anyhow, but at least they went through the motions of having a meeting. This time there was nothing. And if I hadn't gone to that meeting, I would not have known about this at all. This Lot 13 happens to be in my backyard, which is, of course, a concern. But the other concern I have is that I am a life member of the Friends of the Botanic Gardens. And we need this space for the Botanic Gardens. We need Lot 13 for special event parking, plant sales, children's outings, craft fairs, all sorts of things that we have at the gardens. Without this space, I'm not sure what would happen. Our director, Jody Holt, also made the point that there would be up to 1,200 minors right very near the Botanic Gardens. The Botanic Gardens has no supervision to speak of. We either have guided tours or there are a few staff members around. So we would not be prepared for this. I'm not sure what you've decided, but I hope that it is not Lot 13. I will join Guru Mantra in the environmental impact lawsuit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gable. I don't have any more cards, so Mrs. Carmen Day. Oh, sorry. All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Farouk. Okay, this is on a different item, so Mr. Casado will get to you when we speak on that item, if that's okay. All right, Mrs. Carmen Day.
Good evening, Board President Lee, Dr. Hanson, esteemed board members, and welcome to all of our esteemed guests as well. Tonight is a culminating event with years of dreaming and planning for an exciting partnership with UCR. But 3 years ago, the stars actually aligned when Chancellor Wilcox came to Riverside along with Dr. Hanson. And we had the opportunity to really have some open discussions with the idea that this discussions meant movement. And with the board eager to see something innovative in this area of STEM that would be unsurpassed throughout Southern California, and the nation, we ventured into this conversation. In 2015, we actually had an agreement signed that would open the discussion and deepen the collaboration with UCR. And part of that discussion was to actually make a lease happen that would allow our students to attend a high school on UCR's campus. So our first steps for this venture had to do with creating a design team where we really came up with some guiding principles. That was done. We knew we wanted a high-level STEM. We knew we wanted to have equity and access for all students, and we also knew and still hope to do a good job mirroring that diversity at UCR. We knew that we were interested in something interdisciplinary, something uncommon, non-traditional for high schools, ensuring strong community partnerships as well as with higher education, providing students an opportunity to become socially responsible and very prepared with high-level STEM for their future. So this is the design team, and I'd like at this point to recognize those. It was led by Kathy Allaby and Patricia Locke-Dawson, our board trustees, and I would like to recognize those who participated on this committee. If you could please stand. From there, we took a smaller working group and we started to really have a discussion around what is this going to look like? What do we want our students to study? What's the program going to be? So that we could begin to look at facilities. And that is where this smaller working group began to have this dialogue. So the smaller working group, if you could please stand if you're here. And we've been working on the lease ongoing so that we could actually start to continue on with the work. And the term sheet tonight, we're asking the board to give Dr. Hansen permission to sign that term sheet. And some of the few things that are globally in the term sheet is the location. There is contingency language. The UCR has been very generous, allowing us to look at Lot 13 as well as the Iowa site. And tonight it was decided that the Iowa site is the optimal site because it is less cost prohibitive and more of an efficient choice. It will be an amazing program on that site with lots of opportunities to partner with the medical school, CARB, and all of the sciences at UCR. We also know that this program is for high schools 9 through 12. The terms of agreement would be 50 years lease with 2 10-year extensions. The expense is $1 lease for the life of the entire lease, not each year, very generous. And parking is included, and it will be RUSD's responsibility as far as the expenses for creating the actual facility. So we are excited. We're celebrating this evening, so we do have balloons because it is a marker in the journey to actually have the high school open in 2021 is our goal. So at this time, I would love to invite the Chancellor up to say a few words.
Thanks, Lynn. It's an honor and great opportunity to be here tonight. I want to start back a little bit in time, too, to 2015. That was the last time I think I came to a board meeting. Sorry, I'm not as frequent attender as I should be, I suppose, as a citizen of the community. But that was when Superintendent Hanson, President Isak from RCC, and myself signed a strategic planning agreement. And while there wasn't a lot of detail in that plan, it was an important commitment that we saw ourselves as representatives of our institutions committed to something bigger in combination than any of us could have done individually. And we didn't know exactly what that might entail. We had talked about lots of different things, but certainly this sense of a STEM center was part of that aspiration. I also think back to the first time I said STEM high school, and I think it was David who corrected me and said, Kim, we're not envisioning a STEM high school. We're envisioning a STEM center, a place where students will certainly attend high school, but where lots of other things hopefully will happen as well. In-service professional experiences, other students from around the district and other districts coming and being part of a different kind of educational opportunity. So when we get to a day like today, it's, for me at least, both important and satisfying, rewarding to think back on the past. And I'm looking at people here. I have a whole list of names. I'm tempted to start down them, but I'm not going to because I'll miss some people. But of course, David and Lynn were crucial to this. With me today are Paul Deneri, former provost, Cynthia LaRive, acting provost, Ron Coley, vice chancellor, Tom Smith, dean, Catherine Urick, dean, leadership of the university. So this really is a reflection of a broad base of support and lots of faculty members and others across the environment. So we're excited. I appreciate the recommendation and the decision on location. I appreciated the comments from the community as well. I think both sites had lots of advantages, but clearly the Iowa Street site provides special advantages. It's a part of the, again, in the sense of cooperation, it's a sense of the future of the city of Riverside as we think about what will happen along that avenue, which is so crucial to all of us, but has not been well cared for and has been neglected for a long time. This is another key piece of that development. I wasn't joking a minute ago when I said, and 20 years from now, when we want to expand, it's going to be much easier to do that at the Iowa location than on Lot 13, where we're pretty much out of space there. So I appreciate the conversations both within the board, but also between both partners in this planning process about what the positives and the negatives, pluses and minuses, and always with the same notion in mind that we want to develop a center that will serve as many needs as possible, but also has a very bright and very long future. So thank you for giving UCR a chance to be part of this exciting move forward, and we're just really keen to get ground broken and students in place and faculty and students moving back and forth across the street. So congratulations.
Thank you, Chancellor Wilcox. I can't say it much better. I can just say that I know I'm thankful to be on a board that represents a community that values innovative education. And this is a lot of people's collective efforts to get to this point. And there's a lot of hurdles and times in which we could have stopped. And I'm just thankful that we have a staff that persevered and partners at UCR that persevered and a committee of committed volunteers that persevered. And collectively, we all work together to get to this point. Because after all, that's why we're all here, right, is to serve our students. And we're lucky to be in a district that values different approaches and options for our students. And this is an option that now is going to be available to a broader number of students and provide a more opportunity and a brighter future for our students and for our community. Something that's going to make our district better, it's going to make our community better, and it's going to make our students' experience here in Riverside better. So again, I just wanted to thank the STEM committee, the staff, the faculty and leadership at UCR, and Measure O for paving the way to make sure that the community know why we needed their dollars to help. This is just one part of it to make this happen. So on behalf of the board, and maybe a couple other people want to say something, we'll give that time. And also, I just wanted to say, I didn't mention in the beginning, but Mr. Hunt, he had a death of a close family member just yesterday, so he was unable to attend, but he's just as committed to as this moving forward. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Hanson.
Thank you, President Lee and Chancellor Wilcox and the UCR team. Thank you very much for being here. And again, the committees, the small working committee, the design committee, you've done a Herculean job putting in hours and helping us as we've carved out the vision. Thinking of this event this evening, I thought of two recent experiences that have happened to me just recently that I participated in. I found myself just last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, at a school, Poly High School specifically, because it's summer school, and I had a chance to sit with a group of English learners, all brand new. Some have been in the country 6 months, 7 months. On occasion, you'd find someone who'd been here 18 months. Taiwan, China, Mexico, Guatemala, Ecuador, all over. And I found myself with this group of students, 4 kids, and they'd been here 6 months or fewer. And my Spanish is not at all, their English is better than my Spanish. And we were struggling, communicating. And I pulled out a whiteboard and I started doing some math. And you know what? Their eyes brightened up. That's a language they could speak, and we had something in common. And we found out about when they were born and my family and how long we'd been here, all simply through math. And it reminded me of another English learner that came to our district years ago. His family migrated from Mexico. He's the oldest, and so that family, they came here like for so many, even the current English learners I just met, for that great American dream, right? That's why people come to this great country. And this family came, big brother, little sister, and there's a lot of firsts. First to go to public school, first to go to high school. Choice. This young man was in the 8th grade, and family knew about choice and decided to go to this brand new STEM academy, opened up at Central Middle School 5 years ago. And that young boy, a couple months ago, Alex, stood here as an English learner, now biliterate in all languages, and announced that he had just been accepted to his dream college, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. And I'm absolutely convinced, had it not been for STEM, Alex would not be going to MIT. Had it not been for the dream for a brighter tomorrow for our kids, like all parents want their children to do better, Alex would not be doing what he's doing. And so whether it's the young kids from Taiwan, who I just met a couple of weeks ago, or whether it's the Alexes, it's so exciting to see that we have choice in our district, and this board years ago made that kind of decision to help all kids. And the commitment is to continue to help all kids find more Alexes out there so that they can also reach their creativity and reach their dream and things such as that. And again, math, science, it's an equalizer, and it takes away the English barrier. Quickly, I was with a 5th grader and a 6th grader on Memorial Day putting up flags in the morning with the Boy Scouts. One of those students, 6th grader, is a STEM student. And as we drove around putting up flags in yards, they told me how they'd already figured out how they're going to help. If Google can figure out how to get a car to drive around, then we are going to figure out how to help the person who is visually impaired and blind get around. And they told me about ball caps and glasses and sonar and GPS and all kinds of stuff. And their creativity just was over the top, that they were going to make it possible for someone who is blind to get around as easily and be as active as easily and enjoy life that, the car is doing now. And I sat there and I thought, wow, look at the creativity of this 10-year-old and this 12-year-old, and one of them is a STEM student. And when it comes down to putting a price on things such as creativity or potential or where an education can take you, you cannot put a price on that. You just can't. And so I commend the board for the choices that you've made, the hard choices that you've made. I want to thank the UCR and Chancellor Wilcox and the team for solidifying our partnership with higher education, UCR. And if Dr. Isak were here, I'd continue to thank him because he's every bit a part of this as he continues to work with us. It's the right thing to do. And so thank you. As I think about it, being able to allow more kids now with this STEM school to attend this 5-8 STEM Academy, and now high school, more kids to show their creativity and experience their dreams, it's the right thing to do. And so congratulations to the RUSD board members. I commend you on your visionary leadership. You're doing the right thing. It's absolutely a pleasure to serve you, to serve the city of Riverside. It's 43,000 students and 4,000 staff members every single day in this district. And this is just a beginning of a great partnership and a great legacy for decades. What will happen because of UCR in RCC. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank your boss, Chancellor Wilcox, President Janet Napolitano, President of all of UC up and down the state. She's very much aware of this. And to have her blessing, her support, and of course the regents, we could not do this without the whole UC system. So thank you very much for paving that way and helping us develop that partnership. And again, congratulations to you, and thank you to you and your staff for supporting our kids K through 12.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. Before I invite a few guests up to share some words, I'd like to allow the board some time. So, Mrs. Alvey.
Thank you. I was just reminiscing because in 2008-9, roughly, when we first began our discussions about STEM school, and the economy was bad, and people weren't feeling very positive about things, we started a school which had nothing but positivity. And at that time, we sat and we said a dream scenario would be having our high school on UCR's campus, having that kind of interaction for our kids. And that was something we just dreamed about, because at that time, we couldn't get any traction on that idea at all. To see it all come to fruition now is a dream come true for me, because it puts into perspective all those decisions that we made back when it was really hard to take effort and money and time to make the STEM school happen. And I see a vision now, looking forward again, to what Riverside can be with this kind of a STEM center, and what we can expect from the kids who will attend this STEM center, and what Riverside might be able to morph into a real STEM center of itself. And so it's very exciting for me. Thank you, UCR. Thank you, Mr. Gordon-Borns. Thanks, Sue Johnson. Thank you to all those people who have stood behind us as we've grown and we've made the vision come true. So thank you.
Mrs. Lock-Dawson.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Innovation is a real buzzword these days, and doing things differently and thinking outside the box. And everybody likes to say that and say they're going to do it, but few are intrepid enough to stick with it and do it when the road gets bumpy and the slings and arrows start coming, which we've had many. And so it's discouraging. It's very discouraging sometimes when you're going down that route. And like Mrs. Alavi said, we could get no traction with UCR originally. So I want to thank you, Chancellor Wilcox, for taking a meeting with me when I called and you had no idea who I was. So I appreciate that. And opening up the door, I think, as we continued our relationship with UCR, and your entire staff has been fantastic. So have ours. Our community has been incredibly supportive, and the parents, the pioneers, and the kids at the STEM school, they are what make it great, right? They're the ones who have really put us on the map with this. So thank you, I appreciate it, and to all of you, thanks.
Dr. Farouk.
Thank you, President Lee. I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. It's a really exciting time. I want to point out a few things. So many things that when we're preparing our young people for the future, a lot of the careers that they're studying, whether it's in elementary school or later, those careers don't even exist by the time that they'll end up potentially graduate from college. And what we do know, though, that STEM is, to a large extent, future-proof, as any kind of field is, and obviously it's very broad and encompassing. But for us to be a world-class region, and the development of this city and the broader region, this is a real testament to that broader vision. That's why I really wanted to commend Chancellor Wilcox, because it's one thing to imagine that, as a world-class research university, but to play a role in the broader stakeholders in the context that the university functions in is extraordinarily powerful. And I think it's incumbent on all of us as a district and as a board that the same commitment that the university has on equity and diversity, and that being a fabric of its identity, that our district is on a path to also matching that same excellence, so that the pipeline for the UC system and other institutions also reflect a broader diversity and opportunity for students. And lastly, I just want to comment that, research is obviously a central tenet of the university. And the fact that Dean Thomas Smith, as an example, with the Graduate College of Education, really been instrumental in engaging our district as a basis for that research, and to not only from a purpose of publishing and doing the research itself, but also helping inform our policy so that we can actually be more effective in achieving our student outcomes. I just really want to commend that all that vision, the chamber with its industry partnerships, and then the role that that's going to play with enriching our students. It really takes an entire community, and it's this community, Riverside, that's made that happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Farouk. I would like to just take a few minutes and allow a few of our invited guests to come up here and share a few words if they'd like. Mr. Borns, would you like to come up and share a little bit? Thank you, sir. Lynn, can you help him with his mic?
Oh, President Lee, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak tonight. I really stand here on behalf of Sue Johnson. She really wanted to be here tonight and regretted that she's not able to be here, but I want to recognize her and Bill Johnson for the tremendous support that they have given to the STEM Academy right from its inception. I think Sue, very early on, met with Chancellor Wilcox and Superintendent Hanson to really express the support of the community, the business community, for the STEM Academy. And so to a great extent, I've been following in Sue Johnson's footsteps. I have come to understand the importance of hands-on STEM education. And I'll give you a couple of examples. This last week at Bournes, we were very honored to host a couple of events, a week-long workshop for high school students, some of them from RUSD, on the use of solar energy to further enhance our clean environment. And at the same time, with La Sierra's support, we had a robotics competition, a week-long camp where we had 50 students, 6th and 7th grade students, who built and coded robots, and they knew nothing about coding and robots at the beginning of the week, and they were demonstrating their robots at the end of the week. And in fact, this coming week, we have a program called STEM in Law Enforcement and Public Safety with the tremendous support of Police Chief Sergio Diaz, where we will be exciting students about STEM in law enforcement and public safety, including things like fingerprint analysis, DNA analysis, and cell phone analysis. And in 2 weeks, we'll have STEM in the fire and EMT areas with the tremendous support of Fire Chief Moore. And so this demonstrates to me that there is nothing better for getting students excited about STEM than to be immersed in an environment. And frankly, to be on the UCR campus in close proximity with CARB and the medical school is a perfect immersion that will get more and more students excited about STEM education and STEM careers. I want to recognize one last really important milestone, and that's the tremendous work that RUSD is doing with code.org. Under the direction of Steve Kong and Steve Dunlap, with the consortium, I believe we now have 15 school districts which encompass 500,000 students, where these districts are coming to RUSD for guidance in how to run coding programs. It also giving the teachers hands-on tools for teaching coding and the students really unique opportunities for coding. So I think that RUSD is setting a very high bar for all of the other districts in Southern California to try to reach. And I commend you with this next great milestone of the STEM Academy on the UCR campus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes, and you're right. Ms. Johnson has been a tireless champion of STEM, and I know we wouldn't be where we are today if she wasn't here by our side to make this happen. So thanks for sharing your words, and we're sorry that she couldn't be here. Next, the business community has also been a big impact in making this happen, and I'd like to invite the president of the chamber, is Mr. Walker here? I think I saw him. And also the CEO, Cindy.
President Lee, members of the board, and to the superintendent, and to the community, this is a great day today. This is something that we've all been working on together, and it truly is a collaboration. I think that's one thing that this community has been known over and over again from the very beginning days is collaboration that makes things happen. As the first in the state of California, again, checking that off, that Riverside has stepped up to do this with the university. So it is something that we've all talked about. We've all been wanting to make sure we could do everything together to make this a reality from the very beginning. So from the chamber, Andrew Walker is our chairman of the board, and I want to give him just a quick minute. But we just want to say how excited we are to all be together in this. And the site, as many of you know, I know we had a couple of sites as long as it happened. That was the big thing. And so we're all going to work together to make it a reality where we're celebrating the opening of those doors. Mr. Walker.
President Lee, members of the school board, Dr. Hanson, thank you for the opportunity. What's made Riverside so great in its history is things like this. It's the game changers. It's things that we don't quite realize where we're at until we step back and we look at what something looks like 20 years later. And this is it. I mean, this is just something you look at and you know it's going to be successful. This is exactly what our children need. The chamber is talking about trying to do something about brain drain for so many years. And this is something that directly impacts that and is going to have a great effect on that. So thanks for your foresight on this. Thank you to UCR for all of your work on this. Well done.
All right, I think that's it. So now I think we get to the fun part, right? Anything else, Dr. Hanson? All right, so the board want to join down here, and Chancellor Wilcox, and I'm not sure, Lynn? I don't have an agenda, so go ahead.
All right, you want to come down? Actually, I was hoping that we were going to take action. Excellent. Oh, to have to agree to the signing the term sheet and have Dr. Hanson sign on behalf of the district.
I would make that motion.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say Chancellor Wilcox, and I'm not sure, Lynn? I don't have an agenda, so go ahead.
All right, you want to come down? Actually, I was hoping that we were going to take action.
We could turn that off, guys. All right.
This was in a movie I saw last week, I'm pretty sure. If we can go ahead and have Dr. Hanson and the chancellor come sit at the table, and if the board can join him, that would be terrific.
Yeah. Did everybody vote? We don't have the screen up. Just everybody say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Now you can clap.
Thank you.
You're a landlord.
Okay, so here's what you do. First, you hold it like you're going to.
come up here to take a quick picture? Sure.
You see our people for photos.
Let's take a group photo. And then you can mention something about kids. Unless you want to do that up there.
We have some more, RSD people around us.
We're going to take a brief recess to celebrate, and there's some refreshments and drinks and stuff outside.
Beer.
Send him over here. Oh, you're all right. Well, that was really nice. So thanks everybody for making today happen. Lynn, I know you kind of led the charge from the staff's perspective. Thank you. It's a big deal. So we appreciate you and your efforts and bringing everybody together to make it happen. So, and thank you, Dr. Hanson, too. So moving on, it is Dr. Hanson's turn to share with us his superintendent's report, and I think he's going to share some employee announcements that we made during closed session.
That's correct. Thank you, President Lee. And so as part of the superintendent's report this evening, you heard President Lee when we came out of closed session. In closed session, they did take action on employees, and so I'd like to introduce those employees, and then we also have some others that are on the consent calendar, but they're here, and I'd like to introduce them to the board prior to taking action. So the first, for the Director 2 for Planning and Development board members, is Anna Gonzalez. Anna, if you'd please stand. If you can, Anna, remain standing, and let me just share a brief bio. Anna Gonzalez comes to Riverside Unified with 13 years of progressive work experience in facilities planning, including but not limited to project planning, coordination, funding, budgeting, project tracking, long-range master planning, and boundary changes. From 2004 to 2009, Anna was a school facilities coordinator with Runau and Clark Architects. From 2009 to 2013, she worked as a facilities planner for the San Jacinto Unified School District. And from 2013 to 2015, she was the facilities planner for the Irvine Unified School District. Most recently, she is in Reno Valley. And in Reno Valley, she has been the facilities planner with responsibilities overseeing the planning and construction of new and existing school buildings and support staff facilities. So Anna, thank you for choosing Riverside and welcome to RUSD. Thank you. All right, next, to take action for the new principal of Ramona High School, that's Mr. Victor Cisneros. Victor, if you'd please stand. Congratulations, Victor. Victor began his educational career in 2003 as a Spanish teacher at Sierra Middle School, and in 2012, he started his first school administration as the Dean of Students at Arlington High School. He was promoted to assistant principal at Ramona in 2013, where he has served until this promotion. In addition to serving RUSD as administrator, and he has also served as the president of the Riverside Association of School Managers. Victor also serves in the greater Riverside community through his involvement in the Riverside Chamber of Commerce and board member of the Arlington Business Council. We're proud of you, Victor. Congratulations. Also, as a new elementary principal in our school district, but not new to RUSD, and that's Adela Flores Bertrand. Adela. Adela has served Riverside Unified School District in a variety of roles since 1996. She began as a teacher at Taft Elementary School, and after a year teaching middle school and high school in Honduras, she returned to RUSD as a teacher at Jackson Elementary School. In 2007, she began serving RUSD as an ELD coach, and then soon after began coaching as an English language arts coach as well. In 2012, she became a K-6 English language arts instructional service specialist. And in addition to her serving to RUSD, Adela has also provided English language arts training and support for the Riverside County Office of Education, has assisted the California Department of Education as an instructional materials content reviewer expert. Adela, again, we're proud of you. Congratulations. We have a few other folks that have been hired And I don't know that they're all here, and the board will take action on the consent calendar. Our new energy manager is Daryl Korlick. Is Daryl here? All right. Really quickly, Daryl comes to RUSD with 16 years of work experience in mechanical trades, energy conservation, and facilities management in the private sector, as well as public-private universities. And in addition, Daryl holds a multitude of certificates in heating, ventilation, air conditioning, refrigeration, occupational safety, and so on and so on. And we welcome Daryl Korlick to the RUSD family. We should go ahead and clap. Assistant Director for Certificated Personnel and Human Resources, he's one of our own. Wilson, where are you at, Wilson? Wilson? Wilson Cuellar. Wilson began his educational career as a bilingual teacher, K through 5, in the Rialto Unified School District, and in 2001 he was promoted to program specialist, also in Rialto Unified School District. Wilson got his start in school administration as an assistant principal in Beaumont Unified School District, and in 2003, after 3 years in that role, Wilson served as an elementary principal in Beaumont Unified, also from 2006 to 2014. For the past 3 years, a little over 3 years, Wilson's been the principal of our very own Tomas Rivera Elementary School. And during his tenure at Rivera, Wilson has facilitated a lot with instructional learning rounds, served as principal collaborative lead of the King High School cluster. In addition, he was nominated and selected as the 2017-18 president of the Riverside Association of School Managers. Wilson, we're proud of you. Congratulations. The coordinator for state and federal programs, I don't believe she could be with us, but that is Jennifer DeAnda. Jennifer comes to Riverside with 22 years of experience in education with Walnut Valley Unified School District. There she has held various positions within the district, such as elementary school teacher, Title I coordinator, elementary learning specialist, and for the last 5 years, an elementary school principal. She's had a multitude of roles in Walnut Unified, and we welcome Jennifer DeAnda to the Riverside Unified School District. And last but certainly not least, Shatam Odom. And I met Shatam, I know she's here. Oh, welcome. Congratulations. Go ahead and stand. Shatam is the Instructional Service Specialist for After-School Programs. Go ahead and give her a round of applause. You can keep standing, Shatam, so we can see you on the picture. There you go. Shatam comes to Riverside Unified School District with 14 years of experience in education. She began her career as a history and ELD teacher at Tomas Rivera Middle School in Val Verde Unified School District, and she then moved to an instructional coach position at Val Verde Unified, where she assisted and coached teachers in research-based strategies. She began her administrative credential at Bell Mountain Middle School in Menifee, where she has served as an assistant principal since 2013. Her areas of expertise are in leadership, data-driven instruction, working with at-risk students, and program development in reading and writing. Congratulations and welcome to RUSD, Shatam. And so again, the board took action on a few of those individuals in closed session, and they'll take action on the rest here in open session. I just wanted to have a chance for the board to meet you. And to those that came from the outside, thank you for choosing Riverside. And those that are from the inside, thank you for continuing to choose Riverside and for the great work that you do. We're excited to see you in your new seats. Just to keep this short, I just want to remind the school board that this is our second year, but this Friday is our high school graduation for kids who have been attending summer school, the seniors who didn't quite make it, but we have 50, just under 50 kids who didn't quite make it in June, but now they've made it. And so that graduation will be this Friday, July the 23rd in the Martin Luther King High School Theater at 6 p.m. And again, we'd like to invite everyone to be there and to the board members that can be there. That concludes my report, and I'm going to give Mrs. Carmody a moment to give an update from Educational Services.
I just have one celebratory thing to mention to the board, and that is that just on July 13th last week, the State Board Superintendent, Tom Torlickson, had announced that the State Board will take action to approve update on computer science education in California. Well, he usually has done a good job, including educators who have a high level of expertise across the state, and he has put together an advisory committee of 21 members across the state, and our very own Steve Kong has been accepted as one of those members. So if you see him, please congratulate him, and that's it for my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Carmody. You know what I failed to do? We have some family members of the new employees that are here. So let's see. Anna, are you here? You're here by yourself? Oh, let's introduce your boyfriend. That's important. Where is he? Stand on up. Stand on up. Anna, stand up. Introduce him to all of us, if you would, please.
I'm sorry?
Introduce him to all of us.
His name is Yolanda Lopez. So he came out here, actually, he left work, he works in the City of Industry, he left work late, but he was able to make it here, so I'm very happy he was here.
Wow, good job. And I'm glad that the presently reminded me to do these introductions. Thank you for being here and for supporting Anna. Victor, do you have family here that you'd like to introduce? Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and stand up, family members, and we'll have Victor introduce his beautiful family.
I have my parents, my mother-in-law, my two beautiful daughters, my brother, my little brother, and his daughter.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations, and thanks for sharing your son with us, and your dad with us, and your brother with us. We're very proud of Victor. Adela, do you have family? Would you like to introduce your family?
Okay, so I have my husband, my son, my cousin and sister, her husband. I have my mentor and friend, Ms. Hill. I have my friend Janet here. So.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. Again, thank you for sharing your wife and your mom with us, and it's just great to be able to see Adela continue her leadership as an elementary principal. Let's see, Daryl's not here. Wilson, do you have family that you'd just like to introduce? Very good, yay! Well said. He's going to work great in HR, isn't he? They think quick on their feet. And Shatam, do you have family that you'd like to introduce? Okay. Well, stand up briefly and introduce your personally to the rest of the group. Just your family, even though they're not here, stand up and share us.
My husband, his name is Otis Odom, and we've been married for 19 years, and I have a 24-year-old, his name is Arthur Goodman, 12-year-old, and our surprise, a 2-year-old.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Beautiful family, and if they were here, I'd say again, thank you for sharing their mom and their wife with us. So thank you again. Welcome to Riverside Shatam. Okay, thanks, President Lee.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. Next, we have a public input portion. I do have one card left. Mr. Casada, did you want to speak now, or did you want to wait until your item comes up? You sure? Okay. All right, so we'll get to that when we get to the calendar. So now, board, we're at the consent agenda. Move for approval by Mrs. Lock-Dawson. Second by Mrs. Alavi. And communication step back there. I don't have my iPad, so I don't know how to clear it out. There we go. All right. So board, please vote. I think there's one of us that haven't. All righty. That passes 4-0. Thank you, board. All right. Next, public hearing. So board, if you remember, this is the public hearing on Community Facilities District 33 that we opened at a previous meeting. So we need to continue that public hearing and also ask if there's anybody here that wishes to speak to that public hearing. All right, seeing none, I believe we have our attorney here, yes? Runal Shah? All right, thank you for being here this evening. There's a button there on the left, I think. There you go.
Superintendent Hansen, President Lee, members of the board. On April 10th, this board took an action and adopted resolutions declaring the intention to form Community Facilities District Number 33 and the necessity to issue bonds therein. The proposed boundaries of Community Facilities District Number 33 encompass approximately 168 acres to be developed by CV communities into 171 homes. The development is located north of El Sobrante Road and east of McAllister Street. It is proposed that approximately $4.4 million in school facilities will be financed through the issue of bonds, and $4.4 million of water and sewer facilities for Western Municipal Water District will be financed. A greater amount of school district facilities will be financed because the school district is forming the Community Facilities District. Bonds are proposed to be issued in an amount not to exceed $13.5 million. Special taxes will be levied in the district in accordance with the rate and method of apportionment for the district. And the special tax will range from $4,228 for a home under 3,801 square feet to $4,766 for a home above 4,400 square feet. There are a few procedural items that will need to be done tonight, which I will run through during the public hearing. The district has not received any protests, written protests at this time. The County of Riverside has certified there are no registered voters within the Community Facilities District. Notices were mailed and published in accordance with the law. All property owners and the clerk have consented to holding the election today. Before you tonight are resolutions for your consideration, which would form the district, determine the necessity to issue bonds within the district to finance school, water, and sewer facilities, conduct a special election, and declare the results of the election. I'm available for questions. We have Andrea Russ from David Taussig and Associates, the special tax consultant here as well, and Mike Williams from CV Communities to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Okay. So if there's no questions, I'd ask the board to consider the following resolutions for adoption. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. So resolution number 2017/18-1, resolution number 2017/18-2, and resolution number 2017/18-3. Yes.
Yeah.
I need to make that statement. Right?
You do? All right, go ahead.
So presently, the official ballot has been opened and that all votes are in favor of the propositions presented on the ballot.
All right, great. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stop. So do we have to vote on these three, then vote on the fourth one?
Yes.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I'll move approval. Can I take them as a block, or do we need to vote on them individually? We need to vote on the first three first, because they call the election, then we conduct. Can I have the numbers, and I'll just state them? So I would like to move to adopt resolution number 2017-18-01, resolution number 2017-18-02, and resolution number 2017-18-03.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I'll call for the vote.
I can do the next
One more vote, folks. There we go. All right, that passes 4-0. Thank you.
The clerk has confirmed that all ballots have been voted in favor, so we can move to adopt the fourth resolution at this time.
Great. Board, I need a motion to adopt resolution number 2017/18-4.
Well, so moved, since you said the number.
Second.
All right, motion and second. Please vote. All righty, that passes as well. So all four passed unanimously, 4-0. All right. All right, so now, Sergio, you would close the public hearing? Or does that close it by the vote? Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, now we'll move to the action items. So number 1, I believe, Sergio, is that yours?
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the action that the board just took. Right, that was a series of the resolutions that the board
okay.
took, so that has been completed.
Fantastic. All right. So number 2, school calendar. We do have one member of the public that wishes to speak. So Mr. Casada. We're at the school calendar part now, sir. Right. He's coming, right? Okay. Welcome back. Just a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
Great news about high school STEM and UCR.
Turn on your mic there. It's the little button there on the base of the mic. There we go.
Hello? Okay. Great news about high school STEM and UCR. Great vision on the part of the district and board. This is the kind of innovation expected from RUSD. I've already stated my opposition on behalf of other parents at my school to the change in the calendar. I watched the videos of board meetings covering that topic, and back in June had a meeting with a district administrator to learn more of how the district and board came to this point. The district administration tried a few years ago to change the calendar. Then and now I've not heard a compelling case for changing the calendar. We've heard the reasons why. All of them has to be, we want to be the outlier, let's join the rest of the party. High school AP classes and sports are dominating the conversation. Well, now the board has to decide how to spend that extra week. Adding the week to winter break to cover revenue losses from students on holiday in Mexico or far-flung locales sends another bad message to parents. So if you're taking 2 weeks from the end of our summer, please put them to the front. Finish the school year in May. I think many other parents believe that would be the best option at this time. Just save our summer. Give us our full summer vacation as we've had in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Casada. All right, Mrs. Ybarra, you have a presentation for us?
Good evening, President Lee, Dr. Hanson, members of the board. We are back tonight to be able to determine the location of the week that we have kind of put on hold from the last time I was here. So the options that we had at hand were the 3 weeks at the holiday, and then we also had to just end early. So I'm going to just take you through some of the information. I'm not going to go back and talk to you. You are all present. We know where it has gotten to us this point and our determination as to the placement. So current status is basically what I just described to you. The community brought to the board the calendars, and it was decided to stay with the similar calendar for the 2017-18. That was this coming year, and notice the community to move. The notification has been taking place. It's been on the website. A fabulous fact sheet was done that we sent out to all of the families talking about the process and where we are. It's also been placed on the website. We have requested other district start and end dates, which I will share with you. And then now we're here to determine where the breaks need to be. So within your packet, I've also provided for you the information of all of our surrounding districts and their start and end dates. You'll see in parentheses what we've added is if it's a holiday break that they have 3, we have 3. There is one district, Marietta Valley, that has, I went blank. There I am. The Marietta Valley has 3.3. That's 3 weeks and 3 days. It's a little bit odd, but I did want to make sure I would clarify what the 3.3 was. Then you'll see the other with the 2 weeks. We are the district at the bottom, and we currently have for this coming year the 2 weeks and the 1. You'll see over from spring break, you'll see the actual times they have spring break, and there are couples that do have the 2 weeks, but they also have 3 weeks at the holiday. We've included for you their start date and their ending dates. So this gives when all of our districts surrounding us start and end. So that information has been provided for you as requested, and this is their upcoming calendars that they have. The next piece talks about for the options that we had at hand that we initially brought to you as the recommendation with the 3 weeks at the holiday, and that was that they would start August 13th, school would start, teachers would arrive back on the 9th, first semester end on the 21st, which met the requirements that they were looking at, some of the requests with regards to the semester ending. It also would provide for you to end at the last day, high school's June 5th and elementary and middle school June 6th. If you were to take 2 weeks at winter and not take that 3rd week at the holiday, that would have you starting the same time. Teachers start on the 9th. The semester would still end the first time, but then your high schools would get out May 29th and your elementaries and your middle schools would get out May 30th. So those are the two differences. The real difference is that ending date is really the only thing that changes. From here, our next steps are to move forward with the 3rd week at the winter break or to move forward with no additional week at the winter holiday and get out May 30th and or May 29th and the 30th. So I'm here to answer questions and for us to be able to move forward with regards to making a decision. I did believe that May's provided for you some information with regards to the attendance. So that gives you an idea of our attendance breakdown. That was both also independent study and then the actual attendance numbers.
Dr. Hanson, do you want to add something?
Yeah, excuse me, thank you. That's what I was going to say with the handout you just received. You can see that if you've read this, just as it was handed to us, Annette, who does her attendance and business, took a snapshot a week in October and compared that to the week before winter break and the week after winter break to see if we have additional absences those weeks like we have been told surrounding districts do. And then you can see near the bottom, they also included just the number of kids that go on an independent study. And they put a breakdown in there that shows you those that take independent study the entire Thanksgiving, a little bit before then, and then the winter break. Is that correct? Is there anything you want to add to that?
No, this is what she provided me last week with regards to their totals and their information.
And you might, our overall average daily attendance is 95%. Is that correct, Ms. Kakish?
It's close. We do budget at 95, but it's really closer to 96%. So if you take 93 to 96 or 92 to 95 and a half, it's about 3% difference. And if you take that and take the total cost of 1% attendance is in the range of $3 million, divide it by 180 days, and if we lose 5 days, it would be in the range of $250,000 that we usually experience by having the kids in the
seats,
seats versus being off.
And the loss of the
Microphone.
and it would be the loss of the academic, for them to, the instruction as well.
Yeah.
Was there anything else, Dr. Hanson? Mrs. Alavi?
Let me ask you, when kids are taking independent study and signing out for independent study, it's still considered ADA, right?
It is considered ADA if the independent study is returned completed. So that's actually a topic that we were discussing today. That packet, all of the work has to be approved and completed by the students and then submitted back on the date that their submission date that they say they will be returning in order for us to have the approved independent study.
Right, it's still ADA.
We can count it, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Alavi. Ms. Lock-Dawson?
Well, I will share with the board. I'm leaning towards the suggestion Mr. Casada made, just not adding something towards a third week at winter break. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me, although I'd love to have 3 weeks off. I think I don't think it makes any sense. I think it's better to have a longer summer break. My biggest concern, though, I have to add, is when and I don't know if Mr. Casada, you have kids in high school yet, but you get no summer break when your kids are in high school if they're in any activity. That has disturbed me for a long time. If your kids are in band, if they're in cheer, if they're in song, if they're in any kind of sports, they go back way earlier than anybody else because they have to be there for practice or they don't get to be on the team or participate in the activity. So I would like to curtail that as much as we possibly can, but I would like to get out a little earlier than have the 3 week break.
Mrs. Alavi?
Yes, I'm going to concur with Mrs. Lockdawson because one of the reasons, I mean, I had a few reasons why I didn't want to change the calendar in the first place. But one of them was the change to our community's culture of summer vacation, which was disrupted by starting, eventually, as you say, it could be as much as a month early with all the activities and so forth. So I would add that week on to summer breaks to give people at least a little bit more extended vacation time.
Is that a motion?
Yes, I'll move that.
Is that a motion? Dr. Fruch, did you have something?
My feeling is that factoring in the loss of instruction time and the economical factors, I'm leaning more towards having the extended winter break. That's my feeling.
Okay. We have a motion.
I'll second Mrs. Alves' motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, let's vote. Extend the summer. All right, that motion passes 3-1. Dr. Farouk, were you the dissenting vote, just for the record? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ybarra. All righty, last item on the action agenda is a approval of Board Policy 3515. McGuire.
Good evening, President Lee, Dr. Hanson, and Board. At the June 5th Board meeting, we brought before you for first reading Board Policy 3515, Campus District Facilities Security. At that time, you asked us to bring it back for a second reading, adding some language with stronger pre-notification to schools and to parents when a school decides to add cameras or the district decides to add cameras at their sites. You see in red and underlined that language, and it's for your consideration this evening. I will stand here and answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Dr. McGuire. Mrs. Alvey, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm going to move for approval of Board Policy 3515, Campus District Facility Security.
Thank you, Mrs. Alvey. Do we have a second? Second from Dr. Farouk. Motion and second. If there's no further discussion, I'll open up the vote. All right, that motion passes. Thank you. 4-0. All right, well, that was quick. Is that it? It's amazing. I feel like we should just stick around and talk some more. I feel like we could do more today. Oh, it was a pretty good day. All right, so we'll conclude the meeting with board members' comments. Mrs. Alvey.
Thank you. I just wanted to again reiterate what a happy occasion it is today to be making forward motion on the STEM school. I want to thank Mrs. Carmen Day. She's put in a lot of hours. Thank you, Mrs. Kish. You've put in a lot of hours. Everybody who's worked on this is Dr. Hanson. Just really, you need to be very proud of it. And I know it's something that in years to come, when we're all retired in rocking chairs, we're going to look back at this school. And this is going to be a real golden moment, seriously, for our community. And I think we'll all be very, very proud that we took this step. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mrs. Alvey. Dr. Farouk.
I just want to echo Trustee Alvey's comments and I think further. Thank you.
And everybody's being so brief today. What is going on?
We all want to go home and get a drink.
Mrs. Lockdawson.
Oh, I don't have anything to say either. Just happy summer, everybody. And I want to echo Mrs. Alvey's thanks to Mrs. Kakish and Ms. Carmen Day and Mr. San Martin, Dave. I mean, there's so many people I know I've missed. I apologize, but when I said intrepid earlier in my comments, that if you look that up in the dictionary, it'd have your picture by it. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lockdawson. When this meeting got started, I was a little bit nervous, right? Because a bunch of people in the audience. And I looked up looking for Renee, but Renee's not here. But we have this nice, kind gentleman I've been giving a hard time because he didn't get to sit at the table up front with everybody else. So welcome, Dr. Lewis, to the cabinet table. We're glad you're here. I know Renee was here. Yeah. So I was going to just share one. I know everyone's so brief, so I kind of feel bad, but too bad. I want to say it anyways. It's brief. So when Renee left, right before she left, she recommended this book. Probably a lot of you guys saw on Facebook. She was combating the achievement gap, and I think she talked to most of you about it or shared with some of you about it. So I read that, and I told Renee I was going to read that before she retired, and I got it done. So there was lots of paragraphs that stood out to me because I think it was just a really succinct outlook on what all of us are trying to do and what one of our main missions is as a district. And I think we're committed to this, but I think this summed it up in one paragraph. So it says, in America's diverse public school system, equity versus excellence is a false dichotomy. Arguments about which will not result in the outcomes policymakers and citizens' desires from schools. The only way to achieve the kinds of outcomes that are necessary to regain and maintain our competitive edge is to provide a system in which every child, family, community can depend on both excellence and equity in their school. In short, there is no excellence in our system without equity. So I think that summed it up. So if you want to learn more, read that book. I highly encourage it. A lot of it was over my head because it's a lot of education speak, but for all the educators in the room, I'm sure I'll be right at your level. So just wanted to leave that parting thought and thank everybody for their hard work on making today happen, especially the two board members, Kathy and Patricia, for all the extra effort you made in organizing the community and really taking charge of that years ago when it needed taking charge of. So thank you for that. And I mentioned too in the beginning that Mr. Hunt had to leave early. His brother-in-law passed away suddenly and tragically. It was Jerry's sister, or Jerry's brother, so they were all very close. So keep Tom and his family in your thoughts tonight. And I know he would have liked to be here, and he was here for the beginning because he knew that part was important. So with that, we will close in his honor.